When Donald Trump left office at noon on January 20th, 2021, this year, there were nearly 3 million fewer jobs in the United States than there were when he was sworn in on January 20th, 2017. He is the first president in 90 years to leave office with fewer jobs than when he came in. The last president who saw a net loss of jobs throughout their administration was Herbert Hoover, who left office in 1933. And shortly after Hoover was sworn in as president, not long after that is when the stock market crash happened, 1929, the year Hoover became president. So that kind of kickstarted the Great Depression. So yes, Hoover leaving office with a net loss of jobs historically, yeah, we understand that, and bad policies and all that. But Donald Trump, he really had no excuse. And I know people automatically are thinking, but the pandemic. Sure, but the pandemic. But it's also his horrid response to the pandemic that caused so many jobs to be lost. His refusal to take action, his refusal to be a leader is what helped create the massive job losses that we saw from the pandemic. But that's only a small piece of the puzzle. It's probably a big piece of the puzzle. I'll give him that. It's a big piece of the puzzle, but it's not the whole puzzle itself. It's not the big picture. What is trade wars? Why doesn't anybody ever seem to remember the friggin' trade wars? That absolutely drives me insane. Trade wars that have not ended as of this point. Trade wars that cost us jobs, that sent farm bankruptcies skyrocketing here in the United States, to the point where I believe, what was the number, like 40% of farm income over the last 2 years came in the form of aid from the federal government. We're paying them billions of dollars a year because Donald Trump screwed their industry. So that hurt jobs. His steel tariffs hurt jobs. His inability to do what he tried to do when he came into office, and I'm going to save these companies, I'm going to prevent them from moving to Mexico. Oops, didn't do that either. He failed across the board. He failed to keep jobs here. He failed to protect the jobs that he swore weren't going to be impacted by his trade war. And of course, his failures across the board with the pandemic gave him the worst jobs record of a president in 90 frickin' years. So here's why I want to talk about this, other than the fact that that is something we need to know. This man is still worshipped as a god by the damn Republicans. You still see them on social media saying he's the best president ever. And to that, I honest to God want an answer. By what metric? By what metric did this man do a single thing that could be construed as good? For real, what did he do? We now know his job records was the worst in 90 years. Few people alive today have ever seen a worse president handle the job situation during their tenure. Very few people in this country were alive at the time when Hoover did it. He bungled the pandemic. Trade war still raging. I have no idea what Biden's plan is to button all that up. Who knows? But the man was a failure by every single metric. Every way you look at it, failure, 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 failure. And you still have these brain-dead conservatives out there saying that he was the best president ever. So I legitimately would love to have an answer as to why they think that is. Because the numbers don't back it up. So if you think he's still the best, probably has something to do with his treatment of, people that aren't white.